Yo. It's Grapsody with Will, Phil, and Reg, trying to keep it real instead of what you usually get from these talking heads. It's Grapsody, we're here to fill the void. 3 black fans, different perspective, gotta fill your voice. Coming with the podcast, talking majors, indies in between. Yeah, it's all that, and we're down with Fightful, better fall back. Coming for respect, we connect like a ball bat. No need to double check, these are all facts. You're listening to us talk raps. You're listening to us talk raps. Will, Phil, and Reg. Yeah, we're Grapsody, here to talk raps. Yeah, we're Grapsody, here to talk raps.
And we are here to talk graps. It is Grapsody. It is Saturday, November 20th, 2021. And I'm Will Washington, but I'm not alone here because it's been a while since he's hollered from the town mess around. It's Righteous Reg, and he's got to be down.
What's up, bro? We out here. It's Double R, your favorite rapper, your favorite writer, your favorite ranter. We out here, baby. Let's go.
And there's also, I suppose, my enemy from last night.
Yeah, I'm like, I don't know how this is going to start. Nuggets and the Bulls went at it last night. So.
Hey, man.
It's Mr. Philip Lindsey.
Yeah, Will wasn't in the house last night, so those Nuggets Nuggets had to take that L, man. Well,
See?
you know, to be fair, Jokic also wasn't in the house, but
Jokic had an injured wrist, and the fact that it was that close without Jokic.
Nah, man.
2 Nuggets MVPs wasn't out there. That's what happened.
Nah, man. Levine's in the contract year, man. Stop playing with him when he's in album mode, man.
Seriously. Levine said, "Yo, I ain't playing with y'all."
Yeah. It was a tough week as a Nuggets fan because I believe they lost. What am I talking about? I know they did. They lost all 3. They lost all 3 games this week. So that was tough because they went out for a 5-game winning streak and then lost the last 3. So
It's hard
tough week as a Denver Nuggets fan.
As a Warriors fan, I cannot say the same. I cannot relate.
Hey, man. Steph is on a different level right now, man.
I don't know what this man is doing. I don't know what's in his water, how it's different than my Bay Area water, but I'm in it.
He tired of slander, man. Tired of all the slander.
Yeah, but hey, folks, this is Grapsody. Thank you for being with us on your Saturday. Unless you're watching later, then thank you for being with us on whatever day you're watching.
Could be Wednesday.
Yeah, it could be any day. Because we did a lot of podcasting this week. I did a lot of podcasting this week, but we also, I don't want to give a shout out to our boys over at Public Enemies Podcast.
Hey,
the 3 of us, well, it was basically like another episode. The 3 of us got to do a show with them. If you haven't checked that out, head on over to Public Enemies Podcast. The 3 of us were on this week, and we talked a lot of wrestling. And yeah, I did. What did I do? Tuesday I did We're Live Pal over on the F4W channel. And then also
Damn, got that Meltzer check.
Yeah. And then I know, right? He gets paid by AEW, and then it just kind of like trickles down that way, right?
Some way Tony Khan's paying us. I mean,
Yeah. And
either
then
two TK checks. 2 of them.
yeah, 2 TK checks.
he
Yeah.
lit.
And then, Monday, I did My Mom's Basement with Robbie Fox. And then Sunday, there was I call that Sunday because Full Gear ended after midnight. That was the Full Gear post show. That was a lot of fun as well. So I'm saying all this to say that if you're watching this for full-on thoughts on Full Gear, man, we have talked about that ad nauseum. There's not a whole lot new to offer. I've got some thoughts based on new things that have happened, and that's one of the topics here.
We got thoughts. We got a lot of thoughts today.
Yes, but there's a lot more to discuss today. So definitely check all that out. Also, be sure to send us your super chats because those always help support this show, and we always appreciate them. And shout out to a number of the ones we have already. Let's see. We've got D-Lo Diggs. D-Lo. Always in the building. Always love D-Lo.
What up?
And there's also people are just ready. Ryan says unleash Reg.
Hey man, unleash
I have
Reg.
nothing to say today.
Hey man.
Let's see. We've got Fern Loathe in NYC says, "Gentlemen, good afternoon. How do you think Bianca's career would be now if she was released in 2019 and joined AEW?" I mean, 2019 is a tough year because they didn't release anybody in 2019. Like, I don't think.
I mean, yeah, it's tough. Well, we do have to put this in context because I know it's kind of like bash on WWE for some people, but she was PWI Woman of the Year this year, man.
Yeah.
She is having a fantastic year.
One.
Besides the SummerSlam stuff and some of the stuff that happened after that, she is having a great year. So,
Yeah.
And like some of these athletes, when they leave WWE, they're leaving for good. And I feel like Bianca probably wouldn't have went to AEW. She would have found something else to do.
Yeah, I mean, she's one of their legitimate homegrown talents, man.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
But
there have been a number of homegrown talents that, like, I know he had some experience outward, but like I think of Miro, right, as somebody who he was. He's got some outside of WWE, but for the most part, he was crafted in WWE. He was made, like, he was trained in the WWE style. And I will say that as we're about to get into that topic, there are a lot of guys who are mostly known for being WWE guys that I would love to see how they fare outside. Like, from a morbid curiosity standpoint, and from a, like, I would love to see you guys with, like, the shackles off kind of thing. Because, like, that's something I guess I've never put out there on Grapsody because it's something I've put out there for years. Randy Orton has never hit it for me. He has never, ever done it for me. I have never been a Randy Orton guy.
I've made my opinions on Orton known on several occasions. I am not an Orton guy.
Yeah.
My screen is black. Hold on. Can you guys see me?
We can see you now. Yes.
Yeah, I see you.
Yeah.
I can't
and we
see
can see you
y'all.
before. You can't see us?
No, I can't see nothing. It's black.
No. I take it he sees us now.
I don't. Give me.
I thought you were laughing at the shit
right back in. I don't know what's going on here.
It's like I can't see you.
Oh no, we lost him. Now we just got the Fightful backdrop, which means I gotta take the overlay off, or it won't make any sense. Here we go.
Man.
But yeah, so in the meantime, while we wait on the return of the Righteous One, I don't know. Randy's one that, like, I would like to see how he fares outside of the Vince McMahon environment. And we got him back. There's our dude.
Technical difficulties. That's how you start today.
Charlotte's a big one for me. I think Charlotte's somebody I would love to see outside of the WWE constraints and to just see what else she can do. Because I think some of the stuff that she gets criticism-wise, it's kind of unfair.
Right.
Now some of it is, valid, but some of it is not valid at all.
Yeah. And we got a couple of other super chats. Let's check out Cyclops is better than Wolverine. Did y'all see that Raquel Gonzalez look, man, I have to reiterate, and it's not like I'm a particularly big Raquel Gonzalez fan or a fan of hers at all. I am going to put it this way, though. I guarantee you wrestlers are going to let you down on social topics. A lot of them are going to. And there's a lot of people that have had some problematic views that some have let slide and we've almost forgotten about. Deonna Purrazzo's kind of like some stuff that's like questionable in the past. I look at it this way. If I had to base my wrestling watching entirely on people's views on social issues, I might as well just give up because I'm going to be let down.
Can't watch WWE, who supports Trump openly. Can't watch AEW. You can't watch anybody if that's what we're doing.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
There's...
you don't want to get into the weeds. I personally...
Now, that said, that was a bad one to like at a really bad time.
I will say this, though.
Bad.
I personally dislike the trend of screenshotting people's likes. I just don't like it. And this we just saw this with the Chris Hero thing where, sometimes it's an accident. And I'm not saying this is an accident. Don't misquote this. Nobody cut this clip and try and make your boy look crazy. But I just think that sometimes, screenshotting people's likes is a little misleading. Like you kind of got to get people's full opinions as well sometimes. Now, again, there's no, sugarcoating what she liked. But at the same time, like I'm not a big fan of liking the screenshots of liking. And
I think
now,
I think
Gotcha.
screenshots, not screenshots, but I think retweets are a little more telling because
Correct.
that's more of a deliberate move that takes a little, because like you hit the retweet button, it prompts you, are you looking to quote tweet or just retweet? So like you had to go through two motions to do that, whereas
Correct.
a like really can just be you're scrolling and you slip and like something. Because I have had the same thing happen. Now I haven't liked it. There's nothing shows up in my feed
Not like that.
looks like that. So therefore, I'm not going to come across anything like that. But I will say that I have like accidentally liked stuff, and then somebody's like, "Man, you see what you liked here?" And I'm like, "Oh shit, I didn't mean to like that." Mainly because I didn't want that showing up in my feed.
But it's mostly just like some titties or like a
Yo.
butt. It's never like you should die. Like, never not people's lives. It's like some accidental porn.
Hey man, so but in response to the Raquel stuff, of course, where we stand here, Black Lives Matter. We're not rocking with what she said,
No.
Of course, rest in peace to people that have, passed due to stuff like this, police brutality and hate crimes. That's where we stand on that.
That's it.
That's where I stand.
I mean, I have been extremely public about where I stand. And
Right.
I have.
You can look up Will's thing on a database, so apparently where he stands.
Yeah.
Let's go to the Colorado database.
Colorado has, your voting record is at least the fact that you did vote and where and your registered party is public here. Anyway, we got a couple more. We got hello from Scotland. Loved you guys. Thank you, Andrew.
That's
we've
a
got
far way away from where we at.
Another one from D-Lo said NJPW versus Noah. Give you it now.
Fuego.
Feed me that. Let me have it right now. I'll take it, and I'll take two of them.
Another one from Van Twinblade said, check out Glory Pro on High Spot to see Tootie Lynn take the Midwest belt off of Rohit Raju in one hell of a TLC match. Then BAWC here on YouTube to watch her dad fight Dan, or watch her dad. Watch her fight Dan the dad. Well, yeah, watch her dad fight.
Yeah. Oh man, shout out to Tootie Lynn. Tootie Lynn is great.
Yeah.
I thought she was one of the better parts of the the battle royal at Empower. Thought she should have won that, by the way, but just my opinion.
And one more shout out to Mac from Brooklyn. He said, we let Ric Flair rock for the better part of 50 years with the problematic shit he was doing.
Man, Rick has been doing some nasty stuff online lately too, man.
Take away his phone.
Somebody get that man's phone and put it in the drawer, bro.
Get it away.
No, what you gotta do.
They don't care. They're like, you got a podcast, let it fly.
You gotta do the thing I did with my kids, which is you gotta put the time restrictions on it where, it just, the phone don't work after certain hours or before certain hours. That's what you gotta do with Ric Flair.
Yeah, it's time.
That's the only way.
And then you gotta set the screen time limits on it of like hour and a half, Ric Flair. That's all you get.
Right. And then you out, Flair. Yeah, let me cover a couple of loose ends really quick. I want to first get out the BW 500 Wrestler of the Week because last week, we was going crazy. So today,
do that off the top.
Yeah, let's just get that right to it. Random number generator, like I said, today it stumbled upon number 193, which is a pretty good number. It was Koto Brazil, also known as Snoop Strikes. Incredible talent out of Florida. He wrestles in FIP. He's down with Mayhem on Mills. He used to be down with Injustice. He's probably a grandfather member of Injustice, honestly. This guy's done a little bit of Ohio Valley wrestling. He's the one with Al Snow. I think, is that Ohio Valley?
Yeah, OVW.
Whatever.
Yeah,
OVW. Yeah, OVW. There you go. So, this guy's a great talent, unique style, great talker. He can fly. He fights. He's a really good talent. Snoop Strikes. He's out of Florida. A really great wrestler, man. He after he was running with MLW for a while, got released, and then, he hasn't got the proper footing he should after that because he's a really good dude. So shout out to Koto Brazil. He's really great. That Tootie Lynn winning that championship was phenomenal. There's a little clip of it on Twitter that you should go check out. Crowd was great. She was great. There's another clip of her backstage after where all the wrestlers congratulate her. Great moment. I want to shout out BAWC, who they said too, which is, I think Fred Yehi has something to do with it. Bunch of great talent out there. So yeah, it's Black wrestling all the time. Man. There's so many.
I feel like we don't talk enough about Fred Yehi. I feel like he's one of those guys that does not get enough exposure out here. Go look that man up. He's wrestled here in Chicago at AAW. Give that man.
He's an AAW champion.
Correct.
And they just announced that Fred Yehi is wrestling Jonathan Gresham on December 16th, I think, in IWA Mid-South. So, like, and then the next day, Jonathan Gresham and AJ Gray. I just can't believe this run that Jonathan Gresham is on right now. Tomorrow, he's wrestling Dan Garcia in PWG. Like, this ROH thing is, like, crazy. Nobody really knows what's going on, but it's possibly going to be a very big ending with Jonathan Gresham holding the Ring of Honor World Championship high as the show ends. And this run he's been on this year it seems quiet, but it's not quiet, man. He's been out here. Jonathan Gresham is legit one of the best wrestlers in the world. I know everyone says that and it's a thing, but like, look at the response to Terminus. Look at the response to everything that he's doing. This guy's incredible. I cannot wait for Final Battle. It's going to be dope.
Man, when I saw that he was announced for the title match, it reminded me a lot of Booker getting his title match towards the end of WCW. Not saying that this is going to be the end of Ring of Honor, but it does feel similar in some ways. And so I feel like he should be the final Ring of Honor champion for this year. Now, of course, we don't know where things are going to end up in April when they come back, but he's been somebody that's talked very heavily about, you know, what Ring of Honor means to him. So I think he deserves a chance to be Ring of Honor world champion.
Agreed. And again, I'm looking forward to everybody's 2022. Like, I'm already just already jumped steps ahead on like what's next for everybody, and I am ready.
2022 is insane. Oh,
couple more super chats. Shout out to the homie Kate. She said, "Love you guys. Sorry, the black community was failed in so many ways this week."
Whew, it was a rough one.
Rough one.
It's a rough one.
And Colt
appreciate that, Kate.
Said, "Shout out to Trish and Willow getting." On dark tapings. I think it's just a matter of time for those two. Give us the graphics, TK. You know, Willow's worked a few, so she's gotten callbacks. Whereas, was that the first one for Trish?
I think this is the first one for Trish.
That was the first time I recall her working any. I think I've seen enough episodes of Dark at this point in Elevation to like that would have stood out to me. But Willow's worked a few. She worked Jacksonville plenty, so it is going to be interesting to see her now in front of these major crowds and how they respond to her. You know, it's funny, I when I went to WrestleMania weekend this past year,
boo, not the AW crowd.
Yeah, I went to WrestleMania weekend this past year, and I went and saw one of my friends from high school because they live in Florida, and we had seen each other in a long time. It had been a couple years. We were supposed to get together the year before, and we didn't get to. And like every year, there's always something. You know, I even had a layover on my way to New York in 2019, which I'll be talking about here in a little bit. And I was supposed to meet up with this friend because my layover was in Florida. Just didn't happen. It kept happening. We weren't able to meet. So they were like, yeah, you know, let's hang out. And so she and I hung out at over WrestleMania weekend, and you know, I was like, you know, I got a little bit of time, but you know, there's a few shows I'm gonna be hitting. There's a lot of indie shows I'm gonna be hitting. So she was like, you know, I've never really like watched wrestling outside of like the year in like 2000. I'd come with you if I could, and I was like, yeah, sure. Anyway, long story short, Willow Nightingale was like the act that stood out to her. Like as we sat there, and you know, honestly, the thing that sold her was the gray sweatpants battle royal. That was like really what sold her on coming with me. But when she saw Willow at that show, she was like, damn, she's like got it. Like she's somebody that I buy into, and she's like, that is somebody that I can see like on TV one day. And this is somebody who doesn't watch pro wrestling at all. Right. And because she didn't know what to expect when I said I was going to indie shows. She's like, I don't know what that is. I don't know what this is about to be. And she was like, I was picturing like like Fight Club when you said that you were gonna see like
Mm.
but the way I was describing it, because I'm like, it's a smaller audience, a smaller atmosphere. I was like, you're not getting the the big production. It's not like a WWE show like you would know. And I said, but you're going to see some good talent and you're going to see some good action. And she's like, okay. And then she was like, it was just fun, though. She's like, it was a really great atmosphere. And it was a whole lot of fun. But yeah, Willow Nightingale was somebody that stood out to her. And I thought that was really cool.
I mean, some indie shows are like the Fight Club. It just depends on where, where you pulling up.
Yeah. Now, of course, WrestleMania weekend. And like, this was pre-vaccine and pre a lot of stuff. So there was a lot of, most of the shows were outdoors. And so I think that's what kind of gave her a little bit more of like this is kind of a cool atmosphere kind of thing.
Right. It was good in Florida.
Yeah. Shout out to Matt. Says, I'll be at Final Battle to see Gresh versus Bandito.
Oh, lucky guy.
Yeah. And James says, does GCW take over the role ROH once held?
Already did.
Is there not? Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
They already did it. Yeah.
Yeah. And Kyle said, so on Busted Open, Hit Row said they are supposed to have action figures and be on Survivor Series and on Raw and SmackDown, and they filmed a commercial. There's a lot to talk about here. A lot changed very, very fast. And
we'll get to it.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, let's just get to it now. Number 5 topic. Come on, man.
So I know we all are thinking Hit Row and Swerve, but before we do that, I just want to give my man Drake Maverick a lot of credit, man, because I feel like the first time he was released, he forced their hand because he was doing such cool stuff on Twitter that they re-signed him. And I was like, man, this should be the sign. You've got something special in this guy. And then they kind of wasted it again, and now they're releasing him again. And to see the response he got again by just putting a video out, John Cena retweeting it, all these people retweeting it. Drake Maverick's the man. He spun gold out of everything they've given him. You're talking about a guy that every opportunity they give him, he doesn't complain. He just runs with it. He made the 24/7 championship stuff incredibly entertaining with Renee and his wedding and whatever else he wanted. He made 205 Live better. I mean, he tried to make that tag team work, which that was a nowhere reveal for him. Everything they've given this man, he's taken it and run with it. Shout out to Drake, man. I think he's going to do great things when he.
I have a lot of questions about that, though. He put that out real quick.
Like, did he put that?
Did he make that after like maybe 3 release sets ago? Like, I know I'm gonna be in one of these. I should probably have like a good video.
I would think so,
because that was some great production for being released like 10 minutes after he was.
And he's down with EC3. That's like his homie. It felt like one of them EC3 type videos too. So he was like, "Yo, let's get together."
Yeah, like
let's start cooking already.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, he definitely had that like saved on his phone. Like, I'm gonna drop this the moment I see my name in the release set. And good on him, because that's being ahead of the game. Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if he's not the only one. You have to, being in that company at this point, you have to see that there's writing on the wall for a lot of these guys.
Yeah,
and so let's talk about these releases, because they keep happening, and you can tell that there isn't a whole lot of forethought in a lot of this stuff, because there was John Morrison released, right? Like, think about how fast that all happened. John Morrison was just a part of, we talk about a lot of things from WrestleMania this past year. And, the big thing people talk about is Bianca got the main event night 1. We talk about the main event, but like, none of that stuff made headlines the way Bad Bunny did. And part of getting Bad Bunny there was John Morrison. John Morrison working with Bad Bunny, and that he was the piece that made that match.
He plays a huge role in that match for sure.
Yeah,
without him, that match is a lot different. So,
and so I think about that, of like, that guy, he came in, and a lot of people were I think for years calling for it because he was Johnny Mundo and he was Johnny Impact and he was doing big things outside of WWE, and it was like, okay, you bring him back and it's gonna be this is a different guy. This is a guy who is making it happen outside of WWE. He did the thing that everybody says you're supposed to do when you leave WWE, which is go make a name for yourself, and then you come back and you'll be back even stronger. And he comes back with zero fanfare, by the way. It's just like, oh, backstage segment. Oh, look who's here. It's John Morrison. I guess he's just back with The Miz. And he was Miz's lackey for all that time. And then they had Miz turn on him. And they had the match scheduled. The match doesn't happen. Miz goes and films Dancing with the Stars. John Morrison gets to go on a little bit of a singles run and is just released.
He's out. He's out.
The fact that they had this man go from, at one point, holding like 3 championships on the indies to playing with a drip stick is insane to me. But this guy is so good, man. Like, wherever he lands next, I know he's going to kill it. This second run with WWE just wasn't it, man. I know some people got what they wanted entertainment value wise with like some of the stuff with Miz, but in terms of what this guy can do in the ring, this was a huge missed opportunity.
This is disheartening for pro wrestlers that think that you can get there, get fired, go and kill it, and do exactly what you should to get back. And then they bring you back the opposite of what you were doing to get you back here and turn you into a comedy act, and then you're out. That's just like, well, what am I supposed to depend on?
And that's happened to a ton of guys where like,
right.
And it's been happening. And it's not even a recent phenomenon, right? Because like off the top of my head, I think about Jamie Noble, right? Like Jamie Noble had a little bit of a run, his first run in WWE, but it was mostly just like comedy, right? He gets released, he goes on that Ring of Honor run. James Gibson kills it to the point of where everybody's like, "Yo, you got to re-sign James Gibson because this guy is killing it." And it comes back and it's like, actually, like we're going to see him exactly the same way we saw him before and remind you that how you saw James Gibson in the Indies was wrong. And that's exactly what I feel happened with Morrison. There's a couple of others, though, before we get to the one we want to talk about. Jackson Riker, how he survived the others, I don't know.
But, hey, man.
Like, bro.
Get him out of here.
Yeah, come on, man. Finally.
And, like, they tried, too. Like, that first night with crowds back, where they put and they have been egregious with the fake crowd pops on Raw and SmackDown pretty much since they've been back on the road, which everybody suspected. They're like, once WWE had the power to do that with the Thunderdome, they're not giving up that soundboard. They got cheer.mp3 queued up, and they got and they know like once they have the ability to hit the button with their finger and you just hear the sound effects they want. And it was real bad too, because they're really obvious because they don't, it's almost like it's an uncanny valley thing where like you hear it and you're like that. It's like just so mistimed that it doesn't sound like the way an actual crowd would react. And I remember the first time
they'd be having cheers from SmackDown and Raw on there. Like, yo, these are video game cheers. These ain't even real people cheers right here, bro.
Have you guys seen that clip where somebody caught where you could hear the audio of Cole yelling Cena in one of them?
Oh,
yeah, I did see that.
Yeah, and like, I guess what's interesting is that first night with crowds back, and they had that Jackson Riker versus Elias, and it just hit me. What the fuck happened to Elias? Weren't they doing like?
Where is Elias, dude?
They were doing those videos of his return. He
buried himself and never came back. Oh,
like he really died. Like they were like, "R.I.P. Elias," and he's like, "Elias is dead," and I guess he really is.
They were like, "No, for real, you're out of here." He's like, "Wait, what?"
Yeah, I don't know what's going on.
Are you gonna film your own funeral and never come back? That's crazy.
Yeah, that just hit me. But yeah, they did the match with Elias that first night back, and like they played the fake cheers over Jackson Riker, and they were so oddly timed that you just knew that you're like, all right, you're really trying to make it sound like these people like care. But then when the actual match happened, you could see nobody was into it. So it was like it was a matter of time. I'm surprised he survived the ones they did, even if you just remove all Jackson Riker social issues aside. They had nothing to offer. Like,
Yeah,
I get
no.
it. And if you're WWE and you are going to release people, I'm just surprised that he didn't make the list sooner.
And I should put this disclaimer on this as well. You know, we don't want to see anybody get fired,
Right.
Like,
No.
and especially like right now, like right before Thanksgiving.
It's crazy.
You know, nobody. You don't want to see anybody lose their job, but at the same time, get him up out of here.
and shout out to a couple of super chats. Jester Design says Holodead would be a good fit in AEW, especially with her history with Rosa.
Ben.
Twisted
And her history with Swole.
Would be great.
And then H Dragon says, so in kayfabe, Jinder and Shanky dissed Hit Row so bad they legit ended their careers. # don't hinder the gender. And we've got Life of Deem says, it says a lot that Drake Maverick had that ready. It does.
I think he knew.
Yeah.
Jinder and Shanky ended Hit Row's career is the wildest thing I've ever heard in my entire life. Oh,
there's a couple more though. So Tegan Knox was cut, and it was interesting because she was called up just a couple months ago, and they had her teaming with Shotzi, and she and Shotzi had beaten the tag champs a number of times, and then you could see where their attention shifted. You could almost pinpoint the week it did, because all of a sudden it was like, we're building to them getting a tag title shot. Nah, actually we're building to Rhea and Nikki getting the title shot, and then that was it. It was just it for that team, and they clearly, like, NXT call-ups have been really fascinating, especially this year, because, like, I don't know how one calls up Shotzi and is like, you know what? Ditch the tank. Ditch everything that anybody liked about Shotzi. And
I just remember watching that match last night. She didn't have the tank.
She said in a promo that she's not going to have the tank anymore. She said this.
Hold on.
Let's just make her a heel. Let's make her
hold
a
up,
generic
dude.
heel.
Shotzi's thing is the fucking tank, you dumb sons of bitches. What the fuck, man?
We had a whole thing about her losing her helmet and getting it back, and just how great that was on the internet. And now we're ditching all of that. It doesn't make any sense. Whatever.
Fisticuffs, Vince McMahon. I'm telling you, oh my god.
Yeah.
The match was dope though. I'm gonna say that.
And then so Tegan getting released was interesting because, you know, a lot of people keep citing, you know, they were like, she's never healthy, so, you know, how can you keep her around? There's plenty of, I mean, it's all choices.
They said that about Kenta too. Shut up.
I had a boss. I had a boss once that told me that he was training me to be a manager. And it was the first time I had ever been in any type of management, and the last, because I'm done with people management. I don't do any job I apply for now, and I'm a software developer. They always ask the question, are you interested in managing people? I said, no, not a chance. I don't want to deal with nobody's personal problems. But one of the things that I was taught as a manager, they said, I know there's policies, but when it comes down to it, firing someone is a choice. You never have to fire anybody. And he said that now ultimately sometimes it's a choice that you feel you have to make for the sake of, you know, you weigh your options and you come to that conclusion. Fine. But at the end of the day, it's still a choice. You still ultimately chose. And I say that because there have been plenty of people who have been fired over the years, or who have been kept over the years that were injury prone. There's a guy named Edge. I love Edge. That guy had maybe 2 or 3 years consecutively without an injury throughout his whole run. Even in his comeback, people forget that he came back, feuded with Orton, got injured, and then had to come back at the Rumble again.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, that just happened a year ago.
I mean,
you make a choice to keep people if it's somebody that you want to stick with, then you'll do it. Right. So,
and I mean, the undertone to all of this is, I mean, I think we can all stop acting like there isn't a power play going on here. Of course, I have no proof of that, but you could just see the lines being drawn here. You can see the lines drawn and how NXT is presented now. Look at the trend with a lot of people that are released right now. These are all people that Triple H vouched for. Even if you look at Drake, he's a guy that that stood next to Triple H when he re-signed and had that moment with Triple H. I mean, when you think of Tegan Knox, you think about, Tegan Knox crying, and Triple H consoling her during the first Mae Young Classic. These are all people that he vouched for. I don't think that's a coincidence that pattern is there.
Yeah.
A certain guy we're about to talk about, I talked to him, and he said that Triple H was a big component of why this group was hot and why everything was going so great, and here we are. So
yeah. So all right. Yeah. So there's also Shane Thorne released.
he was ready to get out of there.
Yeah,
he was ready, man. Yeah.
Yep.
So slapjack.
But I'd say the one that has everybody talking, and the one that has caused an interesting 2 days. It has been a really interesting 2 days. It has been the release of Hit Row. You know what? I'm not even going to wear Hit Row shirts. I'm actually wearing the Swerve City shirt.
Let's go, baby.
Because that's where I sit right now. Okay, I'm gonna read a couple of super chats and then we will get into Hit Row. Kate said WWE Survivor Series build is surviving being on the roster.
Seriously,
there's a pay-per-view this weekend.
Survivor Series, yeah. Survivor Series, that's hilarious. It is.
Terrence, aka Wrestle Voice on Twitter. I can't believe how anyone can miss the boat on one of the best workers in the world, Shane Strickland. I am so bummed.
I can. His name is Vince McMahon. He don't care. He only wants one guy. As long as he has one guy in this show, none of these people matter. He has Roman Reigns. Anybody underneath him doesn't matter. He'll drop the Usos if he needs to. Look, this show is all about Roman Reigns. This show was all about Hulk Hogan. This show was all about Stone Cold Steve Austin. This show was all about John Cena. When you got these people, everybody
but look what
else
happened when they had
expendable.
Look at what happened by accident when they had two, though, because when it was Rock and Austin, are you kidding me? Like, and it's amazing to me that they don't see that historically,
2 guys is better than 1.
2 guys is better. When you have 2 stars and then they're seen as equals, and then you have them face each other at WrestleMania, and people to this day still talk about WrestleMania 17, still talk about My Way or the Highway, still talk about all of that. Do you know how much value there is in having 2 top guys?
Yeah.
No. Man.
He doesn't.
Yeah, nope. And let's see. So continuing with a couple more super chats, Mac said Bruce Pritchard came back with a vengeance. Yeah.
I'm telling you.
You can see all the
fingerprints.
Yep. TMDK reunion in Japan. Jonah Nichols and Shane.
Yep. That's happening.
And then Jester Designs said, should have known Vince wouldn't get Hit Row after seeing no value in Josiah Williams.
Should have known.
All right. Here's the thing. Here's how I'm going to put this. I'm going to give you guys all a little more insight on William R. Washington. I love pro wrestling. I love everything about it. I love the in-ring. Mm-hmm. I love character work. I love it all. Yep. But there is nothing more important to me in pro wrestling than the success of Shane Strickland. That's my family. That is someone I want to see succeed. So much so that for 2.5 years, I've had to put my own taste aside.
Yep.
When he first told me he signed with WWE, I dropped everything. When I got that news, this was like a celebratory moment in my house, and I was like, I'm going to be there for his final weekend at his indie shows. You know, I tried to hit as many Shane Strickland indie shows as I could, but I was like, I have to be there for the last indie shows. And I was. I went and saw WrestleCon Super Show. He faced Zack Sabre Jr. And then I was the next day at Pancakes and Pile Drivers, and he and Eddie Kingston and Joe Gacy, which is really interesting thinking about that team now.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, they faced OVE. And, like, man, the love that he got. Like, he hung out with, it was me, it was Eric Brady, and it was Cody Carlson, all of RBR. We all hung out, and, you know, he hung out with us the whole weekend, or that whole day, I should say, because we did other stuff. It was WrestleMania weekend. But the love he was getting every time we walked by an elevator, and just somebody was just like, man, you're going to do it. You're going to blow up. Everybody in the industry knew that Shane Strickland was going to do it. And then when that match ended and there was all this love, everybody was singing Ain't Nobody. There were actual boos because everybody was prepared for it. And he gets jumped as the match was starting. And everybody's like, get ready to sing Ain't Nobody. And then he got jumped and everybody was like, ah. It was a way to get heat from the crowd. And then, of course, he wins and everybody's giving him hugs. And Eddie Kingston had him on his shoulders. Eddie Kingston and Joe Gacy had him on his shoulders. And there's a big send-off and everybody's like, this man's going to do it. Everybody in that building felt that this man was going to do it. And, of course, in typical WWE fashion, I felt like everything was working against him. I thought the name Isaiah Scott was whack. I
agree.
I've always said that top guys in the industry, they get a 1-syllable first name, 2-syllable last name. Steve Austin, Shawn Michaels, Kurt Angle, Brock Lesnar, Hulk Hogan, John Cena, Dwayne Johnson. And then if they have a syllable, or if they have a nickname that's 1 syllable, they have even better success, right? Look at Rock, look at Edge. He had both. Shane Strickland, Swerve. That is a guy that just has, you could see the formula was there for success. He had chantable names, all of that. And yet, the whole run, it was like, at every turn, I kept having to like make excuses for it of like, it's coming, it's going to happen, it's going to happen. Like, he had that first match in Miami where he faced Drew Gulak. And I remember, I can't really talk about what like the plans for all that was, but I just remember there was a lot going around that. And it was like, he walked out in American Airlines Arena. Nobody knew who he was. You could hear the silence in the arena, right? Maybe a handful of people there knew, but for the most part, that arena was not fully aware. By the end of that match, people were chanting Swerve. And that was a testament to his abilities as a star. When you can turn a dead crowd around on you, a crowd that didn't come to see 205 Live and didn't really care, and all of a sudden is like there for it. I felt like, I don't know, I felt like he had it, and he was showing he had it, right? But it just felt like his career was so stopped and started in NXT. It was like, he's going for the Cruiserweight title, and then he had that foot injury the first day the NXT aired on USA Network, and so he wasn't cleared to wrestle, so they called up Leo Rush and gave Leo Rush a spot. And it was like... that
shit was hot. Shout out to Leo.
Yeah, shout out to Leo. Like, he filled the spot well, but it was like... The timing of it was all of the build, with Shane Strickland being on, or Isaiah Scott at the time, being on 205 Live and like showing his quest and his vision for being the Cruiserweight champion. I felt like you still did him a disservice. Like I said, Leo Rush, I love Leo Rush, and he was a good replacement there. But Swerve wasn't cleared for like 2 weeks, and it was already like we're moving him on from the Cruiserweight title. He'll come back around to it eventually. And he did, and he still never won it. Never won it. You had him all over 205 Live, never won it. And it was like, okay, something's got to change. Something's got to shift with this man. And because they keep doing this stop-start shit with Swerve and wondering why he's not building momentum. Even though the guy has it all written all over him. He's got the charisma. He's got the look. He's got the ability in the ring. I feel like all of it just clicks. So, of course, he turns heel. And then it suddenly feels like, okay, things are picking back up for him again. He becomes North American champion and forms Hit Row.
One more time on that sentence. One more time. Run it back one more time. He becomes North American champion and forms Hit Row.
Hit Row.
Let's just put an emphasis on that forms part.
Forms Hit Row. Now, I have never necessarily felt like Swerve needed Hit Row, but it was a good thing to have because for his act, for him being a top heel. It never hurts to have the dog and pony show. Look at Triple H with Evolution. You look at Ric Flair with the Four Horsemen. It never hurts to have it. But he never needed it. He had top guy written all over him. But I will say Hit Row.
At first I thought it was Montezzi when they showed Hit Row. I was like, oh, cool, Montezzi's on screen. They're doing like, they're talking about the music thing. I thought, I was like, yo, but it wasn't that. So I kind of see if you follow along to what he's posting on his Twitter and what he's doing outside of WWE, it fit. Like, it was like, okay, he's a rapper. Yeah. He's always in the studio. They're doing this thing. So you're like, okay, Hit Row, it makes a lot of sense. He has an entourage. He's a rapper. Like, these things work together.
Yeah. And like, yeah, it was a cool thing that they actually, they brought that to TV because that was another thing that his character kind of needed, right? It was like he's worked on his music for so long. He's got the Swerve City thing going. And so it was cool to see that come to television. And yeah, Hit Row came along. And the thing is, Hit Row, I think, was good for the acts in Hit Row. I think that, and this isn't really a dig on AJ Francis. It's more just the fact of the matter. Man's had 18 matches in his entire career. This is not somebody who is all of that. He's still a developmental talent. At the end of the day, he's still there to be developed. Same with B-Fab. Still there to be developed. And I still feel like Mr. Elijah King, Ashanti Adonis, he's good. I think the foundation is there. Still a little bit newer when it comes to...
They stuck Swerve with 3 developmental acts, and he's not a developmental
You stuck him with 3
These
guys
are just the facts.
These are three people that would have fit perfectly with what they're doing with NXT 2.0. Mm-hmm. Swerve did not need that. He came in with equity, and that's what I don't think some people understand. He came in, not to completely change directions, but I remember what it was like when he signed. What we're seeing right now with Lee Moriarty and how he was the hottest free agent and how he had this amazing indie run. That was Swerve when he signed. I remember when he got covered by ESPN. I remember watching him defend the title at Defiant and coming out to Ain't Nobody. I remember all of that. I remember right when he signed, doing a list for Daily DDT of all the people I wanted to see him wrestle. I remember the Gulak match because I remember I covered that at Daily DDT. This is long before I came to Bleacher Report, and I was like, this guy's going to be the man. Every time I could, I would say I would pitch something because I just want him to succeed. So when you go back and look back at a few episodes ago when we were talking about Hit Row, and I was like, I'm trying to be optimistic because I wanted to believe for him.
Here's the thing. Talking about Swerve and how much he had going for him coming in. People forget. Do you remember the list? The list Cody put out when Cody was like, I'm hitting the indies and these are all the guys I want to face.
Was on the list.
Swerve was on Cody's list of people.
He was on the list.
On the list
that Cody won. And Cody had the match with Swerve. And it was a main event match. This was not like the poster is Cody and Shane Strickland, which I think is still one of my all-time favorite posters. If nobody's seen that, I'm going to bring that up on screen because I love that poster. Hold on. Let's see if I can find that. Found it. All right. Let's see how quickly I can get this up on the screen.
It's fast.
But I mean, while you're doing that, and I mean, this even goes back to me and Will's relationship. When we first did a podcast together, I think we did the post show for Double or Nothing, right?
Revolution.
Was it Revolution?
Revolution, yeah.
It was Revolution. You're right, because it was the exploding barbed wire.
Yeah.
So we did the post show, and I remember after that we talked about Swerve. And at the time, I didn't know he was your cousin. I just was talking about him because I think he's great. And we got into that conversation, and we had a long conversation that night about how they've dropped the ball with him. How he came in with the name that he created. They immediately made him change his name, which already took away some of his heat. You put him in that breakout tournament. You have him lose in the first round.
Unbelievable.
yeah, just everything going against him at that point. You can see it. Trying to make this guy cruiserweight when he was a multiple-time world champion other places.
Right.
Well, I mean, when you and I think this is lost too because some people
MLW champion beat Matt
exactly.
Riddle.
MLW.
Exactly, and
Yeah.
that's where I was getting. I think this is lost because some people are like, all right, but you know, he look at how different they treat Matt Riddle. And you can even add everything going on with Matt Riddle and how they protected him. Have they done as much for Swerve? Did they try to do that much for
not
Swerve?
even close.
No,
not even close.
Oh, hold up real quick. The poster, by the way, it was Defy. That poster.
Oh, that's hard.
I remember this.
That's hard.
Yeah. Like, this guy had it. You could see, like, you put him front and center with Cody. Like, this was... I felt like he had all the buzz as an indie guy.
Again, I feel like what we're watching Lee Moriarty do right now and finishing it up his indie run, that's where Swerve was before he signed. He was the guy. He was the man. And so they tremendously dropped the ball. And I tweeted this the other night. They wasted his time. I don't care. I know people will be like, "Oh, well, he came out of this with this." No, they wasted his time.
He is no better. No,
they wasted his time.
Look at this shit. Look, you guys. It's been on record. I would not be on this podcast if it wasn't for 5 pro wrestlers, 5 black pro wrestlers. I'm gonna name them down because they are my people. Rich Swann, Willie Mack, Cedric Alexander, ACH, and Shane Strickland are the reason that I'm here right now. There's the reason that there's a Black Wrestling's 500. There's a reason that there's Black Wrestling. There's a reason that there was that podcast. 5 of those wrestlers got me here. Shane Strickland, incredible talent. I saw him wrestle in one of them CZW big box. There's a big box on the end and people do flips off of it. I saw him do one of the matches in New York and I was like, this guy is insane. I don't know where he came from. I don't know who he is, but my mind is blown. I followed him in Lucha Underground. The match he had with AR Fox, that death match they have is gross. It's crazy. It's violent. It's amazing. The stuff he did in MLW, everything, all the stuff, like he was set up for this, just like Phil is saying. He had the Lee Moriarty thing. He had everybody behind him. It was heat. He was ready. He came in, and I knew it was doomsday. But you want to be optimistic about these things.
And you know
that this old man is not going to get this guy. I know no one up there is going to get it. So it's like, yo, I need to be optimistic about that. But I know there's fucking writing on the wall, man.
And here's the part that got me was that they went after this man. It was like, it wasn't
they always
like,
do.
You know, it was
they
like,
do.
you know, they sent out their people because little, if you don't know how WWE works sometimes, is that they've got people who aren't contracted to the company, so therefore, or don't work directly with the company, so that way, if they need to get some feelers out there for, you know, signing somebody who's under contract, because Swerve was under one of the really long-term contract with Lucha Underground, and that was why he wasn't on TV for a long time, because he was able to work all the indies because Lucha Underground allowed that, but he couldn't be on TV with any televised companies because he was under a contract with Lucha Underground. But WWE sent their feelers out to like, hey, when's your contract up? Anything you can do to get out of that? We want you. We want you. We want you. We want you in NXT. We want you. And it was like they did everything to get him on board to the point of where in 2019, you know, I had a brief conversation with him. It was like WWE was pretty much they put the offer on the table of like, hey, we want you NXT. You're going to be here. And I remember the conversation. I said, you know, there's I don't know what AEW is going to be, but, you know, it looked, because TNT hadn't been announced yet. Like, there wasn't anything other than that first Jacksonville press conference at the time. And I'm like, I don't know. And it's like, but, you know, at the time, I think in 2019, a lot of people's view was go with the guarantee, right? Go with, you know, go with the thing, you know, because we don't know what this AEW thing is going to be. It could just be Cody and his
CM
friend.
Punk even said that same thing. He was like, yo, they came at me, and I was like, yeah, I don't know what this is going to be. The rich guy with this dad's money. So, you know.
Like, look, WWE is Bill Bellamy and How to Be a Player. That he will chase somebody down until he gets them, and then once he gets them, it's over with. Look how they chased Deanna, and what did they do with Deanna? Look how they chased Kushida down for years. They got Kushida, and they got him doing jacket time.
Jacket time. Oh my god!
Bro, like, come on, man.
So I felt like I understood why WWE was the decision to make at that time. In 2019, they were basically sweeping the indies, and NXT didn't look the way it does now. NXT looked like it had way more of a future. And so at that point, I fully got why so many people made the decision they did. You know what? We've been talking so long. I want to get to the super chats for a second. Ryan says, TK, get that Shaka Khan theme ready.
Get Shaka Khan.
Get that money, buddy. Get that money, TK.
Yep.
Get Shaka Khan.
Terrence Robinson
Ain't nobody
said
TK.
Strickland can go with Omega, Okada, Danielson, you name it. Social media thinks he is a great mid-carder, but he is so much more than that special. Agreed. And we got Ryan said, randomly saw some of his MLW stuff before he signed, and even though I knew nothing about him or MLW really, he hooked me instantly. James said, this is WWE's response to Hangman's title win. Lame. And Myron says,
they need to get more white people?
Yeah, we talked about Raquel earlier in the show. What else? Let's see. J.K. Schwal says, just getting home from work, so gonna watch the replay. This is for the inevitable Reg face zoom on camera. Reg, keep up the awesome work, guys.
But I mean, even like if we get to Hit Row, because we talked about who he was before he got there and how I feel like they've done him a huge disservice. The reason why I want to like Hit Row so much is because they don't let a lot of black wrestlers be themselves. And that's across the board. That's not just a WWE thing. That's across the board. Wrestling companies do not let a lot of black men be themselves. And so I was excited for the fact that it looked like he was having fun. It looked like he was getting a chance to be himself. I had reservations, but at the end of the day, I saw how much fun he was having. I saw how much retweeting he was having. Like, I put him on this list for like the top stables right now, and like I saw how BFAB responded to it, and I saw how encouraged they were, and I'm like, all right, let's do it. Let's it's off to the races with these guys. Then when I saw him win the title and I started seeing things like him not defending it, I was like, and I mean, then again, as soon as they got to SmackDown, I see them treating him like a tag team wrestler. I'm like, all right.
Yeah, and I had a real big problem with that. I remember in our group chat we talked about that. I wasn't gonna say it on the show because I've been very like reserved about putting out negative takes when it came to anything involving Swerve, because ultimately the thing I want to see more than anything else, I get it. Maybe I look at it in a biased way. I probably do. But you know what? I see this dude as the guy who I always saw this potential for Swerve to be a guy who transcends pro wrestling, that isn't just a big pro wrestler, but I think he's a phenomenal rapper. I think him and Montez listen to the music all the time. And I don't know. I just see so much for him, and having a lot of crossover appeal. Really quick shout out to Monica, said, just want to send love to you guys. Y'all are really helping me get through this 10-hour shift. 10 hours.
That's a lot of shift.
Yep.
Oh my God. Good luck with that.
Great discussion going on right now. And Stellar
you
Justin
dropped the
Lopez.
ball. Okay, look, let's get to it.
Hold on. He says, you know what annoyed me?
Okay, I'm about to get into it.
Yeah, he said there's a report. The focus would be on Top Dollar and Swerve and Adonis would be a tag team. It's Swerve's group. That's where this is about to go.
But it's not just that it was Swerve's group. He didn't need the group. We'll just say it. He did not need that group. And
Same upper management. Hold up, real quick. Shout out to Jeff. He said, same upper management that named a pay-per-view after a rock and roll song from 1957 called Great Balls of Fire. These dinosaurs were perplexed by Hit Row. Out of touch indeed. The solution for this?
The solution
All
is
right.
stop watching the World Wrestling Entertainment. Stop supporting. Don't watch this dumb show that's going to happen tomorrow. I wish we didn't have to review this stupid show that's happening tomorrow. Shitty build. All the wrestlers don't care about anything. The management doesn't care about anything. Look, as long as there's two grandpas out there making all the decisions, this is going to continue to happen. They don't know what the fuck they're doing. They don't know what the fuck anybody else is doing. They don't know what the fuck is going on here. They're just a bunch of grandpas who think that wrestling is still happening like it did in the fucking 80s when they had this bald fucking orange leather skin motherfucker running the game. But the game has changed, dude. It's not about fucking Hollywood Hogan anymore. It's not about your bullshit. It's not about fat heels that are from different foreign countries and different shit. Look, the game has changed. We don't care about any of that shit anymore. But the problem is a lot of motherfuckers still do care about this shit. So when their ratings come out, a bunch of people still are watching it. They're still getting 6,000 people at their fucking events when they're awful events. You're not even watching the fucking wrestling at these events that there's 6,000 people at. They release like 200 fucking wrestlers, 200 really good wrestlers too. Not just like, hey, we need to cut the fat. They cut the whole thing. They cut the cow. They cut the pig. They cut it all. Why? Because they don't get it. And they never, ever will. They never, ever, 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 ever will. And the only way that we can stop this and show support is if we cut that shit off. We don't watch that dumbass shit tomorrow. I don't even want to talk about the shit because I'm tired of them leading the fucking way. Fucking wrestling's Disneyland. Fuck that. Fuck this show. All this shit is bullshit. Watched the show yesterday. A bunch of bullshit. It's all about fucking Roman. It shouldn't be about one fucking guy. That's why we're here again. Here to reiterate that WWE is a one fucking company wrestling motherfucking corporation, and it's a bunch of bullshit. If you want your Marvel done with like bells and fucking whistle and a bunch of bullshit, that's what this is. They want to be the next Disney. They want to be up there and they want to have WWE now and all this bullshit
First
be mainstream, but they don't even care about that either as long as it's not fucking Roman Reigns. Suck a fucking dick, WWE. You guys are the worst company in the history. You ruined pro wrestling. Pro wrestling was great until you came in with your bullshit. But actually, you didn't ruin pro wrestling because you made sports entertainment. We shouldn't care about this. Look, you wasted my time. You wasted Isaiah Swerve Scott's time. You wasted everybody's
Strickland
time. But
Shane Strickland. We ain't talking about Isaiah Scott no more. We ain't talking about Isaiah Scott. That is not a name.
Isaiah Swerve Scott is dead because you killed him.
Yeah, you know what though?
Strickland.
Hold on. First off, I'll say something in defense of them trying to be Marvel. They are Marvel if they don't get Marvel, because Marvel has depth. Marvel built around other characters. Marvel has something for everyone, right? You know, it's not like it would
they
be
can
Marvel
learn something from Marvel.
Yeah, it would be Marvel if Marvel was like, you know what? We got Captain America. That's enough. Screw everything else.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, man, listen.
And none of this other shit's gonna matter, and we're just gonna cut random characters.
Doesn't
just like,
matter.
oh, you into this character? Don't matter.
Nothing matters.
You know, somebody.
Nothing matters.
So, I feel
honestly, it makes me sad. I've been a WWE fan for 30 years. I'm talking about die hard. I watch Raw every SmackDown. I watch everything they put out. I bought DVDs. I bought wrestling tickets. I've been to 9 WrestleManias. I've been to Royal Rumble. I've been to everything you could think of. I've spent that's how much money I spent. I flew out, vacation. I've spent my life savings to go and support these people, and they don't give a fuck. They don't care. They don't care.
And I mean, this all tracks. Like I said, everything we talked about from this point forward. I mean, you can go back and like again. I was trying to be optimistic, and I think Will said this perfectly before when he says, you know, I hate being, you know, optimistic and being made a fool of. And I feel like I was made a fool of.
That's exactly. That's
I wanted Hit Row to succeed, and just to see how fast they gave up on him is just really, really, really irritating. It's really frustrating. And like I said, I just feel like they wasted Swerve's time, man. I feel like they wasted all 4 of those people's time. And listen, I'll say this too, because I feel like Top Dollar is getting a lot of heat online. Man,
I don't want to talk about
it. Do I agree with everything that Top Dollar has done? No. Did I think some of those videos were whack? Absolutely. But at the same time, at the same time, if everybody's working right, you're letting Roman work. You're letting Roman get in these interviews and cap about CM Punk and do all these things. So why is it a problem with Top Dollar did it? Why did people take it so personally?
They told him to do it too. Oh
exactly.
My God.
Why did people take it so personally when Top Dollar did it? The way I saw people trying to dunk on this man when he got fired, I did not like it, because what it told me is what I've seen before so many times is when a black man does anything in this industry that is not anything other than go along to get along, and he goes out there and he's confident and he does what they say that they want you to do, they get mad at him. And I just did not like that. Again, I don't like everything he did. I don't agree with all his choices.
He did a couple last stuff.
But at the same time, some of the way people took it personally, I did not like that, bro.
Hold on. I will say there's one place where I'm going to disagree, because I feel like
Vince McMahon's paying you well. What the
no. I'm saying this. As far as there's one thing Top Dollar said that I feel like, I'm sorry, but you deserve everything you're getting in a response. But it was when they first got called up, and he took a dig at everybody who got released after their call up, or whose call up didn't work, right? Because he was like, we're not like all them others because we can promo. That to me was a mistake, because
don't say that.
Don't say that, because ultimately a lot of guys, like, it's okay to see that WWE fucked up with a lot of call ups, but to say that that was them, we're different. A lot of people were like, okay, we'll see, because it wasn't so much to say that, oh, you suck too. It's like, no, those were all talented guys too that WWE missed it on. And you are taking a shot at them rather than, you could even say, oh no, we're going to be different, we're going to do different, but don't try to make it seem like we're different because we're better than them and they fucked up because, or their call-up didn't work out because they were the problem. Don't put it out there like that, because the second your call-up don't work out, everybody's going to call you out and be like, what happened? I thought you were different. And I feel like he shouldn't have done that. That, to me, was a mistake.
I will say this to that, though. I can't speak for the man. I'm not taking it I never took it as a personal dig to all of those people. What I felt like he was saying at that time is, we're different. And I feel like he wanted to speak it into existence that we're different. And now I do agree that was a mistake. And that goes back to, I don't agree with everything he said or everything he did, but I do feel like people waited for their downfall so that they could dunk on this man. And I just did not like looking at that from afar, especially seeing Swerve was attached to it. I just didn't think that was fair to him or everybody else. Now, can I sit here and say that Top Dollar probably could have put his phone down sometime? Yeah, but at the same time, it's wrestling. Everybody's working. Why are we taking it personally when one person works that happens to be black?
I get it. Yeah, no, I'm with it. I'm with it. I just didn't like when the whole Hit Row thing, when they made Swerve Shane Strickland a part of, when they just made him another guy in the group. That's when it was over. I was like, this guy is not another guy in the group. He is not.
And that's a problem, because I'm gonna put it out there like this. And this is just how I see it as Shane Strickland's biggest cheerleader. Stop talking about Hit Row. Look,
that's it. If Hit Row, that's what this. If you get anything from this podcast, Hit Row is, we're out of here.
We're done. We're done with Hit Row. Look, I see a lot of people. A lot of people keep saying, Hit Row should pop up here. Hit Row should pop up there. Hit Row should pop. If Hit Row was gonna do it without Shane Strickland. Because I hate to be all, nobody came to see you, Otis, but nobody came to see you, Otis. Like, this is this. Look, I like everybody involved, but it was a developmental act. Swerve was past that, and at this point, there's a reason why the article Fightful Select posted stated there's multiple companies interested in Shane Strickland. Everybody's looking at Shane Strickland right now, as they should be. They're not necessarily looking at the rest of the group, and I don't think they should at all. I think that the rest of the group will probably find their footing. I think they should, as a unit, work in the indies. I think they should build a reputation.
Get another dude on that level too.
Yeah, I think that they can build up who they are and who they're going to be, but it's got to happen without Swerve, because Swerve is beyond that. I think Swerve is a single star. I think Swerve is going to do it well, and I think that I don't want to hear the name Hit Row in a conversation with Swerve any longer. If you're talking about where Swerve's gonna pop up next, talk about Swerve because that guy was ready. That guy was ready years ago.
Hey, and to be frank, like I don't think any of us are saying he doesn't need that group as a shade to the other three people.
No,
they're great on their own.
Yes,
but I feel like they benefited from Hit Row more than he did.
Yes.
He was ready a long time ago.
He was already ready before that.
Right. I said the same thing about Keith Lee a few weeks ago. This guy is the guy. This guy is the guy. I'm talking about. He debuts on the show and he's the world champion that same night. That type of talent. This guy is the one. When you guys are going to say it, who can AEW believe they're the world champion? Shane Strickland is the guy right now. No, nothing's needed. And watch what happens in these next 3 months. It's going to be time to cook, man. Shane Strickland, in 3 months, the world is set on fire and we are living it. Oh my God. Will Washington was right when he said that 2022 is insane because Keith Lee's going to be out there. Shane Strickland's out there. Leo Rush's going to continue to kill. There's a million people there. Oh my God. Jonathan Gresham's out there. I can name 50 guys right now.
I'm excited.
Girls and people.
I am excited. I feel like, I was sad when the news first hit initially, but I was talking to you guys all night. By the end of the night, I was like, the future's bright.
I'm going to say it. Free my man. Let him go where he wants. And Matt, while you're at it, free Cedric Examiner. Get him out of here. You're not doing nothing with him, man. Let him go somewhere else and shine. I saw that tweet the other day and got mad and was like, people are tired of sleeping on Chad Gable. Nobody is sleeping on Chad Gable. Y'all are. Free that man and let him do what he wants somewhere else, man.
I just said that. I just said that about Shane Strickland. I just said that about freaking Keith Bearcat Lee. But when Ricochet, unfortunately, the writing's been on the wall for a long time. When he leaves the game, he's the one. Ricochet is the fucking one, and they are not gonna. Oh my God, they're dumb. Stop watching the show. Ricochet, free Ricochet.
This is how I'm gonna end everything I have to say about this. I'm gonna bring it back full circle. I have been cautious about the way I talk about WWE and the way I feel about WWE because ultimately the thing I want more than anything else is the success of Shane Strickland. More than anything on the face of the planet, that's the thing I want. And I said that in spite of my own taste, right? So it was like, look, man, Raw is not a show for me. SmackDown is not a show for me. I love pro wrestling. I don't like the way that SmackDown presents it. But it's like, look, if at the end of the day, Isaiah Swerve Scott became Universal Champion, I will be waving SmackDown flags all day long because that is how much I want to see that man's success. Mm-hmm. But he ain't there no more. So fuck WWE. Like at the end of the day, I have needed to say that for a really, really long time. You know what? NXT and then fuck that show too. Like, look, man, I have like you saw me on the show. You saw me on this show weeks ago as Reg don't care. Reg was like, you know what? Free that man Shane Strickland. I want to see Shane Strickland anywhere else. As soon as that man's contract is up, and I'm like, I can't say that because I just want to see him be successful wherever he goes. I won't say that, but you know what? Fuck him. Fuck all that shit. You just said it last week.
But again, this is why I tweeted out yesterday. I think that where I was like, you've watched us from day one, like this, the progression of us trying to be optimistic for this man, and I think we just watched Will Washington walk into the kitchen as Skip Bayless did and snatch his Cowboys hat out and throw it in the garbage. It's over with. It's done, guys.
Look,
man. Why I said, look,
it's like when T.I. snatched Nunu's chain on ATL. WWE, give me my fandom back, boy.
And I mean, and look, I've always been consistent with this. Support the wrestlers. Don't support the company. If you want wrestlers to succeed, support them where they go. And, I'm not going to sit here and say there aren't still wrestlers I want to succeed over there at WWE.
I do.
But
Big E's the world champion, man. Come on.
Yeah, but at the same time, there are some people that I want to leave there so bad and go somewhere else. And that doesn't mean I want them to go AEW or go here. I just want them to have fun wrestling and succeed, man. That's it.
Absolutely. Okay, we got... And thanks to everybody who came out for this episode. This is like, without question, our most watched episode already.
I am zen, you guys, and I'm normal.
And I appreciate everybody who's come out. We got a whole lot of super chats we got to read. He said, I feel for Reg, especially after his last live WWE. Thank you, Moxie.
See, man, I still was trying to support just like a month and a half ago. I still was supporting.
James, preach, brother Reg. Pedro, let's go, Reg. Tell it like it is. We have Brendan said this rant is the best so because real. It's true.
Yeah, no, seriously. It's not even a rant. It's like, yo, I hate you guys. You guys, I appreciate. Man, stop it.
I appreciate this. I love it every time I heard. He's not the first person to say this, but Destructobot said came to Grapsody for Will, but I stay for Reg. I love that.
I love y'all. Y'all are amazing, man. Y'all make my days feel great. I just get to talk about wrestling, and you guys like this.
Nothing but the truth. We had Luis Hernandez for $5 for speaking the truth. See, it's like when you like go out on a corner and just start ranting and people just start throwing change at you.
Yeah, for real.
We have Mac again. Go ahead, Reg. Tremaine said, why don't they love us? WWE was one of my first loves, and then they had Bianca lose the 2 moves. Vince and Nick are meaner than the Road Warriors.
Seriously, they just be doomsday
and Rob Reed said, I saw way more people cheering about Top Dollar getting released than they were about Jackson Riker.
Listen. And I saw somebody in response say to that, oh, well, Jackson is just racist. Just racist.
What? Hold on a minute. Wait a second.
But y'all took it so personally that Top Dollar was putting some raps out that y'all didn't like, man. All right, man. Let's stop acting like the undertone wasn't there, bro.
Yeah. Kieran says, we need more New Jacks in the business. RIP to the legend. We got Kyle said, where do you think the downfall went with releases? They're wrestlers, and ultimately WWE wants to create everybody from scratch.
Well, I
think it's also that they got embarrassed by what happened with NXT. And I feel like somebody pulled the plug. Like, all right, well, we let Triple H do what he wanted to do over there. Let's start.
This didn't work. Let's do it. Yeah.
I have to say, I appreciate this super chat addressing the profile picture because it said, "Want to say thank you all." It said, "Y'all the homies, and y'all insight is amazing." As a black man, and it said, "Forgive my profile. I love Anna Kendrick." It's nice to see this platform. Also, Reg, go off. Give me that energy. LOL, love y'all. Like seriously, I saw the picture of Anna Kendrick, and I'm like, what? Because I saw the name, I was like, so Deontay is the name, and I was like, Deontay, but that's.
Hey, it's that movie that plays before AEW. I know what this is. She rips open the painting and she's like, "What's inside here?" And then AEW starts. That's because of that movie. I don't know what movie that is, but that's what it is.
Thank you, Anna Kendrick.
The homie's like, I just really fucks with Pitch Perfect, yo. I just can't.
We got Miss Late as for Raquel. I can't let it go because she uses her Latino as an identity identity as a thing.
She's a Latina for Trump. We saw her.
Yeah. That being said, I do know that not all skin folk are kinfolk. Yeah. And she'd probably gladly see me deported. So whatevs. Yeah.
I mean, we would. I mean, listen. I'm not making this a personal thing. I mean, it ain't no MAGA energy over here. We not rocking with none of these MAGA people. It is what it is. I mean, if she's still there, I guess somebody's supporting her. I don't know. I don't want to keep getting into the Raquel stuff.
Yeah,
she lost her champion. She ain't the champion no more, is she?
Dakota was always the best part of that act. Let's stop ignoring that part. I mean, she would come out and show her back. Dakota was the best part of that.
Dakota Kai retweeted the BW 500, so I fucks with Dakota Kai.
It's the same thing that we said with Swerve, that he didn't need Hit Row. She didn't need Raquel. Raquel needed her. Yeah.
Okay. There's this. I'm gonna read a couple more chats, and then there's something I also have to address because it's time. All right. James says top priorities for TK: Shane Strickland, Keith Lee, Athena. Agreed. And Myron Kidd says, hope most of these released black wrestlers go to Impact. They have a good track record with black wrestlers, unlike AEW. Let's be real.
I do not want to see them go to Impact.
No, I don't want to see them go to Impact. There's two things. There's 2 points we have to go with here. And I mean this, Myron, as as somebody who's been watching WWE my whole life, and as somebody who currently watches AEW, you can't necessarily, I don't feel you can do that, because as much as I would like to see AEW do more with black wrestlers, I have not been wronged as a black wrestling fan. That is the difference, is that there is nothing that still guts me more than seeing Kofi Kingston get beat in 4 seconds. Like, you can tell me all day long that black wrestlers haven't been pushed in one place, but I have not had a knife put in my gut and twisted and twisted and twisted.
Yeah, trying to get me started again. Hey, yeah. Bring up Kofi.
So I will say, I'm just saying this though. If you're talking about track records with black wrestlers, you know what?
No,
okay, go ahead.
No, let me say it, because I keep seeing this narrative that WWE has a better track records with black wrestlers. No, they do not. And yes, we can say that AEW hasn't pushed them enough. That is absolutely true. But at the same time, we have not seen anybody show up on AEW with a black mother character. We have never seen them do anything like they did with Bobby Lashley and his Three Sisters thing. We never saw anything like the Triple H and Booker thing on AEW television. Stop making this stupid comparison, bro. Like, I'm tired of seeing it, bro. Stop.
That was what I wanted to get into, because I was going to say that there's something that it's finally time to address. Look, man, for the last couple of months, and I have been reserved in addressing this, there's been this narrative that WWE is the new Black Oasis. That if you're a black wrestler, you should go to WWE because black is going to be successful in WWE. And look at Bobby Lashley. And I went over that. First episode, I talked about why that narrative is flawed.
If your name ain't Bobby Lashley, Kofi Kingston, Big E, or Xavier Woods, and they're still barely on half of those guys. They're not.
But even so, look how long all of that took. But either way, with all of that said, no wrestler feels that way. And that was the point that I have wanted to.
Not even the ones I just named. Shit.
No, none of them feel that way. The way that people were talking online about how WWE is the new home for black wrestlers. Now, here's the thing. Everybody does feel, and I feel, there's never been a better time to be a black wrestler, and there's never been a better time to be a black wrestling fan.
Correct.
Absolutely agree with that. Absolutely agree. I think everybody's on the same page that as far as right now, we are all cheering and celebrating how black wrestlers are winning right now. And you talk to anybody, they'll feel the same way. But if you talk to any wrestler, anybody black in the industry, across the board, and you said, is that narrative that was out there of WWE being the place for black talent, nobody was feeling that way. Everybody recognizes what the history with that company is and the habits of Vince McMahon, and everybody watched what happened with Keith Lee, and that wasn't exactly a surprise to anybody. That's not like that was a wow, you did that with Keith Lee. It was more like WWE doing WWE. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was just they do what they do, right?
Yep.
That conversation, it wasn't it, and the fact that it was happening as recently as October, and we're in November right now, and it's like a lot of that stuff now sounds silly as hell.
Stop it.
Unless the company is black owned, that company is not for you in the sense of when somebody says,
see how close my mic is? See this? Yes. See this? Look how close my mic is.
Yes.
These companies do not love black people.
Thank you.
I've tweeted this, and when I tweeted it the first time, some propaganda artists got mad at this. They don't love us. They don't. None of these companies love us. They're owned by white men that for the most part, vote like Raquel did. They're probably liking the same tweets.
Yes.
They don't love us. They don't. Stop.
Because they don't get us.
Stop taping for
don't
these people
stand
that
the
don't
companies.
love you. Stop it. Support the wrestlers. And when you say that this is the place for black wrestlers, the wrestlers don't feel that way like Will. Listen to the wrestlers. Stop
we're talking about
to
AEW too. We're not capping for
and writers
AEW
that are
now.
capping for this company because they've watched it their entire lives and they don't want to watch nothing else. Stop it. Stop.
And look, this is part of the reason why I say when I talked about why you're going to be disappointed if your entire wrestling basis is on social issues and political leanings. There's a reason I say that. Who was the Trump organization's biggest donor in the year of 2016? Anybody? Any guesses?
WWE?
World Wrestling Entertainment. Not just Vince McMahon, not Linda McMahon. World Wrestling Entertainment, the company. Meaning your dollars that you spend on WWE products, and I have a hard time wrapping my head around that. The dollars you have spent on WWE products directly went to the Trump organization. They were the biggest
I had the
donor.
WWE network from day one until they went to Peacock, and all my money went to that orange.
If you have a WWE subscription, if you bought belts like I did, now granted, this was made by a really talented belt maker that is not an actual WWE belt, but I wanted something really well done. Anyway, but if you buy WWE products, just recognize that simply just talking about, well, I don't support Raquel Gonzalez because, and I'm not going to follow her on social media. But the fact is, there's a lot to wrap your head around when it comes to the whole organization helped fund those 4 years. The entire company, not just the McMahons. That wasn't out of personal pocket. As an organization,
his wife worked for them.
Yeah, his wife did. And we could talk about the McMahons themselves, but as an organization, the company was the biggest donor to the Trump Foundation or the Trump Organization in 2016. The biggest, hands down. Their biggest donor was World Wrestling Entertainment. So just know that there's that company.
If there's lines, you got to know where the lines are.
And I mean, that company, it isn't just them. It isn't just them. It is across the board.
No.
So again, that's why I'm saying, don't support companies.
Don't support companies. Support wrestlers the same way. And that's the way I look at it. Now, there's some more super chats. There's a lot of super chats. We got Van Twinblade said Swerve, Keith Lee, Top Dollar BFAB versus Mick Outlaw, technical difficulties at 2D Lin. Again,
a couple of those people.
A couple of them. I'm not all that interested in seeing Hit Row. As
we want Shane Strickland by himself. That's where we're ending. I saw them say
it's none.
Shane Taylor Promotions versus Hit Row. No, we're not doing that. Shane Strickland is out of here. They can do that, but Shane Strickland is not going to be there.
Yeah,
that's
not with Shane Strickland. Ryan Sullivan said, "Oh my God, Will Washington face turn." We had Tremaine said, WWE had me on the Kool-Aid, had me thinking WCW was the bad product. They at least put people on TV and wanted to entertain fans and cared about pro wrestling and didn't make Booker T look like a fool. No, here's what WCW did. They became bad very quickly and you noticed faster. Whereas WWE did it over time and to the point of where you didn't notice, you just looked up one day and were like, what am I watching? Whereas WCW did it so quickly in such a short amount of time. Like Nitro was only on the air for 6 years. And in 6 years, it went from being the best wrestling product out there to like, what is happening here? To like, oh, this is fun again. To like, oh my God, this is awful. All of that happened in 6 years. We have Jack Murphy. He said, haven't watched WWE since Royal Rumble. And before that, it was 2 years probably. Watching AEW plus Japanese companies is the right move when you have limited time to watch. Watch what appeals to you. Because I like AEW, but I like AEW because it's a product that does cater to me as a wrestling fan. They are definitely a fan servicey product. And that's not to say
I'm
that
PWG young boy, so of course I love AEW. Like they do everything that I want. They are directly do it because, for me. They're for me.
And that's what I say. I say don't support the company, support the product that is for you. And if the product isn't for you anymore, don't support it anymore. Show them that you want what product you want, and that is why I use my viewing habits. I use my money to support what I want to see. And
that's
Ryan
why we
says,
need a new weekend too. I want WrestleMania weekend to be. I want to associate the best wrestling weekend of the year with something else.
I would love to as well. WWE was my most toxic relationship. I left them. James says,
I feel like I'm gonna go back.
Bring up something from the past that gutted me as an old Fed fan. Booker getting done wrong at WrestleMania. And my biggest disappointment in that is the way Booker T is just like, well, it's all wrestling. I got paid. So what does it matter? And it's like,
impersonation was incredible. Yo.
It's like, shut the fuck up. Like, as a fan, I hated seeing that. How does Booker not understand?
We had a good
that
run, guys. I'm glad you guys enjoyed the show.
Oh man, this is it. Will's killing it today. That Booker
like
T
as
impression.
a fan,
God.
like how
But
does
Booker let us be mad about this, dude? He would not let us be mad about this. He's like,
I know.
It was fine.
He's like, look, I got paid, so what does it matter? And it's like, we didn't get paid for that. We had to watch it. We had to see you get told. Pay. Yeah, we had to pay to watch you get told that, people like you with your nappy hair and your suckers, you're here to amuse me, you're here to make me laugh. That wasn't supposed to mean nothing else. When people say, oh, that was supposed to have racial undertones, what is nappy hair? Shut the fuck up. You know what that was supposed to mean. And so, and then on top of that,
the homie said, I got to check. It's fine.
Yeah, and then on top of that, I could even live with that having happened because people say that kind of shit in real life. But usually, if you're going to tell that kind of story, the racist should lose. The racist should be, racism happens. So if you're telling the story of racism, as long as the oppressed triumph, like any movie out there that's been about racism, you never tell the story of the times where the racist won. That sucks. Nobody wants that. And that empowers racists to feel like, okay, there's going to be victories in that. You don't want that story
like what happened yesterday. We don't talk about real news, but like that same situation just happened.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's not a story to tell. You're not going to see the Kyle Rittenhouse movie made because that's not a story anybody wants to have told again. And
you might, though. Netflix don't fuck around.
No, Netflix ain't gonna take that shit. You know that. But either way, let's see. Ken says, I've never understood the logic behind thinking AEW doesn't have black main eventers, so black main eventers shouldn't go there. They need them. I agree. That's the thing is, okay, if you see it as AEW doesn't have black main eventers, you should see it as, look, if you
sign more black wrestlers.
See, because that's the way I see it. I see it as AEW books the show that I want to see. It is a in-ring based product, and I like the wins and losses. I like the way stats matter. I like the way that they have long-term storytelling. And to me, I see it as, okay, that Kenny Omega and Hangman Adam Page story was an excellent story. I want to see a story told like that with black wrestlers. So to me, I'm like, okay, this is what I want to see for black wrestlers. I want to see, and that's why I'm so enthusiastic when I see somebody like Leo Rush having the matches he's having. Because I'm like, okay, now I'm getting to see black talent doing the things that I've gotten to see all these other guys do for so long for these last 2 years. So that's the way I look at it. We have Tremaine who says, WWE, everybody say what's up. Ron Killings is NWA champion. Crime Time. New Day started as a gospel group. Vince said the word to John Cena. And that's another thing.
I mean, listen, we're gonna put this out there too because some people are like, "Oh, the rap thing doesn't work." Hey, John Cena went on the run that made him a world champion with a hip hop inspired gimmick. What happened with when a black group did it? They were released within 2 months.
Ooh.
What does that tell you?
And JJHF or FHJ says, honestly, Impact has a pretty good track record with black wrestlers. MVP Lashley was incredible in Impact. Kenny King, Moose, Rich
that's
Swann,
not
Chris
what
Bay.
we're saying.
Look,
they've had a run. Yeah.
Look, I don't want to knock Impact. Here. Okay, I don't want to knock Impact, and I don't want to knock their ability to book certain demographics because, again, they do great with women's wrestlers, and yes, they have had a great track record with black wrestlers. Here's my only knock.
Great, that's probably kind of a stretch. I say a good.
Good.
Great sounds kind of
here's my only knock against Impact. When I see people say things like, "Oh, I want to see this wrestler go to Impact." Hey, don't go to AEW. Don't go to WWE. Go to Impact. I feel like for a lot of people, don't
nobody watch that show.
Yeah, okay, thank you. I was gonna feel them by a nicer way.
No, don't say it nice to them. Watch that show. I mean, these people that
I was trying to be diplomatic, right?
No,
and I mean,
listen,
I watch Impact. And listen, I watch Impact, but
I know. I catch Impact on occasion. But I do agree. Reg is right. Nobody's watching it. And the thing is, like, so like when somebody says to me, they're like, hey, wouldn't you want to see Swerve go to Impact? And I'm like, nah, because I want to see Swerve make money. And like, here's the thing. I want to see him on TV. I want to see him on TV. I want to see him making money. And there's a little more. There's a few more factors to it. I want to see him in front of big crowds. Like, It's
Yes.
not just
Pay-per-views.
like if it
all
were
the
as simple
stuff, all the
as
things.
if it were as simple as all wrestling companies on the same playing field,
Yeah.
fine. But it's not the case. That is
They're
not
not.
the way it works.
I mean,
I don't want to see Swerve on a bunch of taped episodes. Like, there's a bunch of things. Like, you got to just like, come on.
It's not even about who watches what. Wrestlers do not go from WWE
That was
to
pretty fire.
Impact. A lot of people step up from Impact to go to WWE. Going backwards is not the
Right.
way. You should be moving forward.
Nah.
Shout out to
Yes.
Mac, and thank you, Mac. Will, I've been listening to you for the past 14 years or so. And I've never heard anything like this.
That's what happens. That's
I know.
It's peer pressure. It's
He got
all
on a
peer pressure.
podcast with two brothers with dreads, and it's just you know.
No,
what's gonna happen
it was this week. It was honestly this week that was just like, you know what? Gloves
No,
are
this
off
is a
now.
very-
I've tried to be nice.
This is a very close, like this. Personally, this story with Shane Strickland is like personal. It's close to us, so like
It is. It is
it's
very
different
personal.
than any other story. It's different than
You know what?
anything else.
That was supposed to be the number 5 story, and like we got 20 minutes left. So
Oh
here's
my
the deal:
God,
we're gonna speed through these next ones. We're gonna speed through these next ones because I knew this was gonna happen, and that's why I moved this one up to the top because this should have been the number 1 story. But talking about Dynamite and Rampage really quick. The things we specifically wanted to talk about were the tag match from Dynamite this past week, which saw Leo Rush and Dante Martin face off against the Acclaimed. I thought this was absolute fire. I thought that
I'm going to start this by saying Anthony Bowens is incredible. Oh my God, that guy can do everything in the ring. He is great, a great pro wrestler. I just want to say Anthony Bowens,
Amen.
Incredible showings this past 2 months, these past year. Ever since you've been on the roster, you've been killing it.
So, yeah, those 4 guys was working, man. Like they all 4 of those guys looked great in that match. But man, Leo from presentation down to the theme song, which he did himself. The theme song is fire. Him coming out and doing what he does best, and just like, oh my God, he's a superhero out there, bro. And just seeing how well Dante is treated continues to be one of the best things of the year for me. Dante's season has been full effect. Everybody wants this man, from Acclaimed to whatever other stable that has approached him. Team Taz. I mean, I said it when we were on Public Enemy podcast, but he's the only man in the company that Malachi Black respects. He's the only one that he's shown respect for on the entire roster. That means something. It's off to the races with this guy.
And it's working. Like, that's the other thing, too, is that when them crowds were chanting, let's go Dante, I was like, okay. You know who he reminds me of right now? Dante Martin, to me, is Black Jeff Hardy, except way cleaner. Because what I mean by that is age. People forget Jeff Hardy made his debut at 16 in WWE because he lied about his age. And they let him go on TV at 16. And
so when he became hot, he was like 22,
he was
21.
He was like 20, 21. Yeah. Like Jeff Hardy was super young when he got as hot as he did, which is why here we are 20 years later. He's still cooking because he's only, 41? And so that's what happened with Jeff Hardy. And knowing that Dante Martin is as young as he is, and that's the other reason I compared him to Jeff Hardy, because he's a younger brother, because it was Jeff Hardy had Matt as his older brother, but at the end of the day, Jeff was the one that everybody attached to. And there's a lot I can see there. And the other thing from Dynamite was a lot of stuff happened on Dynamite. Bryan Danielson turned heel. And it's one of those heel turns where it doesn't even have to remain a heel turn, because it's one of those things where, like, Bryan is in his bag right now because he's undefeated, because he wants the world title. He's going to run through all these members of the Dark Order. And for anybody who's like, well, I wasn't ready to boo Bryan Danielson, you know what's cool? If he loses to Hangman, that's his check. It's like, damn.
Right.
Like, he could take a step back and kind of go, shit. You know, I've been an asshole, and because I thought I was on fire, and this man just put me in my place. Like, then all of a sudden, you got your Bryan Danielson back. Like, it could be a temporary. It could be a temporary thing, because the fact is it's working, and he's going to be facing Colt Cabana in Chicago at the Wintrust Arena on Wednesday.
Phil, are you in the building or what?
Not official yet, but I'm trying to be in there.
Because it's a crazy show.
If we're getting a Punk promo against MJF, I will be there.
Well, we got the Punk match against QT Marshall. I don't know what, because at least they want to give him the win. They're trying to give him a big moment.
Choice.
Yeah,
I mean, if it's a match with QT Marshall, I'm assuming it's to make it a short match to make room for the promo.
Yeah,
and that's why I will be there if that's what we're getting.
And honestly, just like I don't know, I'm interested in seeing, because it's like really sold out. Like that's, and Wintrust is a good arena. A lot of people look at it because it's not Allstate, which is crazy because Allstate's old, like really old.
Allstate's very old and it's very far. It's not in the city. It's not Chicago. It's Rosemont. It's not in the city. Wintrust is in the middle of the city.
And that arena's, I looked it up. That arena was built in 2017. Like that's like one of the newer arenas like in America.
Shot-Town homie's about to be hot on Wednesday.
It's also the home of the WNBA champion Chicago Sky.
Yeah.
Shot-Town.
I will say the Sky is the reason I watched the WNBA in the first place.
Come on, man. Candace Parker, man.
Yeah.
How could you not?
My daughter auditioned for a commercial for NBA 2K20 to play young Candace Parker. She didn't get it.
Wow.
But and for everybody who saw me texting earlier in the show, I was looking down because I literally got another text for an audition coming up, and my daughter's got an acting class that I got to leave for here in 20 minutes.
Let's go, baby. I thought that was Swerve. I thought Swerve was
like, yo, chill.
No. If anybody was wondering, it was literally like acting gigs coming through for my daughter because she's pretty good. Which is funny because this has been a thing going on a year.
I love
it was literally like a year ago. She was just like, I think I want to be on TV like Uncle David, and I was like, okay. And I'm like, this will be something that passes. So let me just humor this like any dad should. And then sure enough, now all of a sudden, people are calling like, hey, she needs to audition for this. She needs to audition for this. And all of a sudden, I'm an acting dad. So
let's go, baby.
Yeah,
coattails, man. Coattails to the top.
Yeah, and
I mean, her uncle's a living legend, acting living legend. So we lit.
Hey,
we lit.
and
I
you know what?
His picture in the auditions, like, hey, this my uncle. I know y'all seen it before. You seen Family Matters? Have you seen Family Matters?
Parenthood is now on HBO, which is funny because he played Short Fuse Ricky on the Parenthood, and it's so funny because like people still remember that. Like I see people with usernames on Twitter that's like Short Fuse Ricky, and like people remember Short Fuse Ricky because he was a dude who he was good up until you pissed him off, and all of a sudden he had a short fuse. And so Short Fuse Ricky.
Hey, and while we're at it, still on the AEW train, like man. Got to give Velvet and Jay Cargill their credit. Every time they have matches together, they have great chemistry. They look great. I mean, I like that match. Yeah, I see people call Jade Green all the time, but I feel like she has had her better matches with Red Velvet, and that's a credit to how good Red Velvet is, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Red Velvet's tremendous.
I love Red Velvet. Good. Yeah, I know people like to dig Red Velvet because like there's been a spot here or two that hasn't worked out, but like
it's wrestling.
But because that's people who like to look at like gifts and stuff, and it's like if you're basing your entire opinion on somebody on like single moments and not like Red Velvet could have a burner of a match, and she's had a lot of them, right? But then people look at like one moment and they're like, look at Red Velvet. But no, Red Velvet's fire, man. I love Red Velvet.
No, I like Red Velvet because she's like there's like sometime in wrestlers there's like especially newer wrestlers like a timid thing and like movement, like no, she's fluid, she goes for it, and she's a really good talent, man. She's gonna get better and better every time, but she's already improved tremendously like this year. So.
I actually think she should be the first woman to give Jade a loss eventually. I think she should be the one.
Let's see, L. Alexander
stories being told
says,
already.
AKA neutral handshake, the difference between black prospects in AEW and WWE. In AEW, it is clear that they want to build. WWE wants to extract. That simple. Ooh. Okay. Good way to look at it. Jester Design says, Bowens, you're a virgin. Leo, I got 3 kids. That's funny. Because, like, it's fun. That's such a great comeback. Because at the end of the day, calling somebody a virgin, it's whatever. It's a solid insult. Because somebody tweeted at me, and like my picture on Twitter, my header is of me and my kids, and somebody was like,
and they look like you, dude.
Yeah, and they were like, they're like, look at this virgin, and I was like, I will have you know, I have had sex at least twice. All right, and I can prove that.
It is what it is, bro. My seed is out in the world.
Yeah, it's like I can at least prove. I can at least prove 2 times.
2 times.
Yeah.
2 times.
Yeah. And then Brendan says that match was awesome in every way. Even the pose on the ramp with Leo and Dante was cool.
Dude, Leo and Dante are on fire. Leo's an actual superhero. The gear, the music, the flying, the so fast. Oh my god, he's incredible. So good, man. When they get at Leo Rush action figures, they're sold out of the stores, man. Come on.
Yeah, man.
No, and this is the run I've wanted to see Leo Rush go on. And I'm so glad it's happening.
Leo might skip the line of like being the first Black World Champion AEW, man, because this momentum is just going to keep building. Yeah, or at least, at minimum, like this momentum's going to build every time he's on TV. So it's going to be super dope to see what happens.
Aiden says, I was so late. I'm just catching up to Reggie's rant on WWE, and y'all have helped.
Man, you trying to get WWE to come after me?
Not to watch Survivor Series. Can't support this trash.
Don't watch that shit.
Hey man, watch what you want, man.
Yeah, watch what you want. And let's see. Knight talking about going back to Impact. I only watch for the knockouts, nothing else.
Mercedes and Mickey is tonight. It's gonna be.
That's gonna be dope.
Yeah.
So Colt says Red Velvet's theme got me twerking in the nosebleeds.
Stir it up.
Stir it up. Shout out to Mikey Ruckus on that one. And yeah, so our number 3 topic, we're not going to say much on. You're going to have to wait for that one. Number 3, talking about Terminus.
Yeah. There is it's so new. That's the reason why we're not going to say so much on it. But
also, there's a big
baby. It's incredible time.
There's a big interview coming out. So this is basically promo mode. Big interview coming out on Fightful this Monday with Baron Black and Gresham.
Somebody here talked to Baron Black too, right?
I spoke to Baron Black yesterday.
Yes.
Interview will be coming on Daily DDT next week. But because you're under the Fightful banner, we also have to promote that Sean Ross Sapp did speak to the homie and John Gresham, and that interview is dropping Monday, right?
Yeah, I think Monday is when that's going to drop, and that'll have a lot of details about what's coming up. So be excited about that because again, we're talking about promotions and companies and projects that we talk about caring about us as far as who you are as a Black wrestling
Black owned.
Yes, and we said support Black owned. If that's truly what it means to you, like if you're like, I want to support Black wrestlers, so I'm going to give WWE my money, that makes no sense. But if you're like, I want to support.
From what I heard, it's just one show. Like this is just a show
so far
for now. And again, like All In was just a show. I mean, if we put support behind this thing, it could turn into something bigger.
Yes.
Regardless, it's going to be in Atlanta, so there's going to be a ton of super talented wrestlers. They both, Jonathan Gresham, I already said best wrestler in the world. Baron Black's been around a bunch of great talented wrestlers, so the roster is going to be fire. Phenomenal. This card is going to be insane. This show is going to be crazy, you guys. Yeah. It's going to be something different. They're coming at it a different way. The hype video they released is getting a lot of tread online, so I'm excited to hear that interview because I want to learn more myself.
Yep. So support, and definitely support your boy as well because it'll be coming out here soon. And then we've got one thing I wanted to talk about. So I've talked about Full Gear ad nauseum, but the thing that came out yesterday that kind of changed the conversation around Full Gear is Dave Meltzer's star ratings.
Right. Sprinkle some stars. Sprinkle a little stars.
Yeah, sprinkle some stars. All right. I'm going to say this when it comes to Meltzer. Personally, I have learned over the last few years that me and Dave Meltzer actually see wrestling very similarly. I noticed that he's very predictable in that I noticed if I'm really feeling a match, I can look up and go, I bet you Dave Meltzer is going to come around on this one. He's going to see it pretty positively. And like when the three of us, we were on Public Enemies podcast, I was pretty much the only one who was like, Full Gear like was really like all around a great show. It all delivered. And then sure enough, Dave Meltzer hands out all these like super high ratings to all these matches. But I think, and then of course, because everybody takes Dave as gospel, it, of course,
even though every day they say don't do this, don't listen to Dave Meltzer, don't listen to Dave Meltzer. So why are you guys arguing about Dave Meltzer then? I don't get it. You said you're not listening to him.
Yeah, and so I think it's important to recognize a couple things. One, yes, it's one man's opinion. He's been doing it. He's been doing it the longest. So yeah, that's why there is there's a little more weight behind it. Cage Match has a literal column for Dave Meltzer star ratings. So yeah, I get that's why there's so much weight behind it. The other thing though is because the thing people are pointing out is that like the 6-man Falls Count Anywhere match got 5 stars, and they're like, so you mean that got 5 stars?
That's a little high, Dave.
But they're like, Well, hold on, because they're like that match got
Nicholas
5 stars.
and Maximus Jackson are in that match.
Maximus.
That's why.
But they're like, but you mean to tell me that Shawn Michaels versus Undertaker didn't get 5 stars, or Shawn Michaels versus Kurt Angle?
Yeah, see, I hate when people say that.
Naming all these historic matches. I'll say this: 5 stars doesn't really have the same weight today in a world where 7 stars exists. Like all of a sudden, now that now that you've given a match 7 stars, I feel like 5 stars is now lower on the scale. Like, because at this point now, you've now said best match that you've ever seen was a 7-star match between Okada.
7 stars.
Okada and
But
and
to
Kenny.
be fair, it's not like he's handing out a lot of 5-star matches to women's matches.
He's not. He's still not really.
He's still not doing that.
He did give 1. But yeah, but at the end of the day, that's true. But I guess I'm just looking at it on the scale of like, there wasn't a 7-star match when Kurt Angle versus Shawn Michaels took place. So like relatively, I wouldn't have given that match 5 stars if 5 was the best possible match. Wouldn't have.
Right.
But if 7 is now our best possible match, yeah, in hindsight, Kurt Angle versus Shawn Michaels, probably 5 stars, right?
Shawn Michaels has a bunch of 5 stars, like if we come down to it,
Right. And so in hindsight, and I think the only match, I think Dave's given 2 Shawn Michaels matches 5 stars. I think Razor is one of them, and Undertaker Hell in a Cell is the other one. And so, but regardless, look, man, y'all can't get in these debates, like these huge hot ass debates over star ratings. Because like at the end of the day, my favorite match on the show wasn't his favorite match. My favorite match on the show was MJF and Darby. I loved that match, and I thought that had the best story. And I look forward to the day that those two can close out the show in main event, because I think they showed that they're gonna have it together one day, if not now. Like if like all of a sudden everybody just like randomly tore their quad like Hunter doing a clothesline, and all of a sudden it's like we need these 2 guys to main event, wouldn't feel 2 ways about it. But as far as the star ratings to me are concerned, I feel like you can't look at 5 stars today the way you did before. Him anyway. I feel like nobody else would break their scale, because that's just silly. It doesn't make any sense. Like, you wouldn't see IGN give a game like an 11 out of 10 because they're like, well, this game is better than the last.
Super hot.
This game is super hot. It's better than the last 10 out of 10 game we played. So there we have to give this one a 12. Like, that doesn't make any sense. You wouldn't do that.
At the end of the day, it's wrestling. If you don't agree with Meltzer's opinions, don't subscribe to to looking at his 5-star ratings. The same thing I said earlier about corporations don't care about us. They don't look at wrestling the same way that we do, and they don't look at things that appeal to us the same way. He's doing is looking at what appeals to him, and giving
that's exactly what it is.
It's mad subjective. You do not have to agree with this man.
Yeah, you don't. And Alexander says, as somebody who regularly disagrees with Big Dave, I am fascinated that all the people who call him a hack know his precise opinion about everything.
Like this guy sucks. Don't listen to him, but I know all of his backstory. Well, are you listening to him? Yes or no? I don't know what's going on.
Man, don't pay attention to his star ratings. Don't look at clips from his show. Just don't do it.
I've been a long time observer subscriber. I've been subscribed for a long time because really up until we're gonna point down here at the logo. because really up until Fightful and Fightful Select really kind of took over as being the leader in breaking wrestling news. I liked getting the inside scoop, and so yeah, I was an Observer subscriber for many years, and I still am because
SRS
it renews
got
once a year.
Dave Meltzer out the
Hey,
pain.
SRS.
Yeah, but SRS has been breaking the news, and honestly, before I joined Fightful, I was a Fightful Select
Come
subscriber.
on, man.
So.
Start the SRS star rating.
Yeah.
Come on, SRS, we need that.
Yeah, but anyway, he says Meltzer needs to bring back that mullet he was rocking on Donahue. That was 5 stars.
On Donahue. Oh, what's up, Matt? Of course you would make a Donahue. Fucking Donahue joke. That's hilarious.
All right, and the final story. I can't believe we got through all these in time. And you know what? There ain't a whole lot of time we got to spend on this.
What is it? Oh God, not more WWE. I forgot what the number one topic was. Oh,
yes, it's coming up tomorrow night on the old Peacock. WWE Survivor Series, and we are going to see a whole lot of matches. I said
say
this.
some positive things about it today. How about that? The women's Survivor Series match looks pretty hot. I think that's going to be pretty good. The 5-on-5 women's match has some good talent in it. It should be pretty hot. I'm gonna say that.
I mean, I'll say this. On Public Enemies, I gave my prediction that SmackDown could win until they made it Tony Storm. And it's not a knock on Tony Storm. It's a knock on how WWE views Tony Storm. Which I'm like, okay, Raw's winning.
Wow. Wow. No faith in Tony Storm.
And to me, it's like, okay, if it were somebody that I could see WWE wanting to protect, like when Phil had predicted it'd be Asuka in that spot, I was like, okay, then I could see SmackDown winning that because that's somebody that, WWE wants in there strong. But it being somebody that WWE has had no problem just sending out there and having their shoulders pinned to the mat in 2-3 minute matches. Oh no, Tony Storm is...
Remember what we were saying earlier about how hot Shane was when he signed? Remember how hot Tony was when she signed? I mean, she was everywhere. Yeah. Overseas, everywhere. And now, I don't know what's going on.
Nothing.
Yeah. Nope. It's
the other day we were talking about Charlotte with the I didn't know what Charlotte the thing was, and I saw that last night. Charlotte, what the hell are you? What is this? What was that? What was that? What was that?
It's the only thing I remember from that episode of SmackDown, so there's that.
Yeah, I mean, I guess so. But that was weird, Charlotte. I don't know what that was.
Now, I'll say this about the show. If WWE could have something, because WWE pay-per-views, for the most part, especially when the build is kind of trash, the show can tend to come together because luckily they have talented guys.
It's going to be a good show. They can do that.
They have talented guys, right? And a lot of apologists are going to turn around and go, see, everybody was down on this show, but it turned out fine. Yeah, because they have great talent. Like, it ain't about just make me care about it is the only thing that I'm worried about. Exactly. But that said, I will say this. This is the most positive thing I could say here. And it's an if. If WWE comes through as all the signs are pointing to them doing so, and Big E beats Roman, because you're not taking the title off of him. You know for a fact that Roman I see Reg giving me the look.
If Dwayne is showing up, there's no way in the world that Big E's getting the victory. Because everyone's like, Dwayne.
Look,
they're just trying really hard. WWE's just like, say his name 5 million times, maybe he'll show up. He's not showing up, you guys. He has a movie. He has money. He don't need y'all money.
He got better things to do.
Look, if Big E feels like right there. His reign has come through for me in ways that I didn't think it was going to. But as I said on Public Enemies this week, I feel like he still feels a little secondary. I think you can fix that if he defeats Roman Reigns. If he is the guy to pin his shoulders to the mat. Because the cool thing is, Roman doesn't have any viable challengers on... Honestly, they're going to have to do another draft before we see if he has another viable challenger, because nobody on the SmackDown roster feels like he has one. So it's very clear.
Like, where's WrestleMania going if The Rock's not here? Who's he going to wrestle? He has
he's going to wrestle Brock again. They already announced that Brock's going to be at the SmackDown coming up in at the Staples Center. So, like, they're already going to re-kick off the Brock Lesnar Roman Reigns feud. He's facing Brock at WrestleMania in a rematch. So like clearly there's no viable challengers. Nobody new stepping up for Roman Reigns. So at this point, Roman Reigns ain't losing the title anytime soon. So you don't have to take the title off of him. But at the same time, the rub of Roman Reigns hasn't been pinned to the mat in 2 years, can go to somebody without taking the title off of him. And at this point, I think the best thing they could do is Big E being that guy. And if they do that, and I feel like the way Roman got over on Xavier this past week and the way they crushed his crown last night, which, by the way, if you can't even get over on children, and my 7-year-old son was like, my son was like, was that made of, he's like, that didn't even look like plastic. That looked like cardboard when the crown got stepped on.
Crown out there.
Yeah, like when he stepped on it, Billy, a 7-year-old boy, was like,
shout
metal.
out to Billy.
He was like, metal wouldn't just like break like that. Like it would maybe bend, but that don't look like a real crown, Dad. And I was like, yeah, I know. I probably would have maybe put a little bit more.
That don't look like Burger King.
Yeah, it's like I would have put a little bit more to the budget. But either way, the way they got over on Xavier this week, and the way they got over on Big E, and the way that it just feels like the bloodline keeps getting over on the New Day, I feel like ultimately the New Day has to come out victorious. And the way that they do is Big E is the guy to pin Roman Reigns.
By the way, now that you said that, shout out to my man Chris Ely from the NWA podcast, because when I talked to him, he said, man, I feel like all of this stuff with Xavier is a setup for him to be humiliated by somebody else. And that's exactly what happened. He was right. And so, I mean, shout out to my guy, Chris Ely.
Shout out, Chris. Yep. Shout out, Chris.
Shout out also, by the way, to Austin Creed, to Xavier Woods. If anybody's been following the G4 relaunch, he's been all over.
He's out there in his element.
He's on Attack of the Show. And during the commercial break, he gave a shout out to Kenny Omega, and that was cool. Because during the commercial breaks, where it's airing on like terrestrial TV, they're doing commercial breaks like full on. But on YouTube and stuff, they're just showing like they're just playing music, and you can just see them on the set, and they all have like a little whiteboard. And he wrote "Get Well Soon, Kenny," and put it up on the screen. And
hey man,
that's the thing about the wrestling industry. These guys all love each other. It is all love. There's maybe a few people who are like truly on the outs with others, but for the most part, it is all love in the industry. And I think as all three of us have had great conversations with pro wrestlers, they don't feel especially as loyal or as tribal to companies as
not at all.
They just want to wrestle, man.
They're like, I'm getting this bad. Yeah, I want to wrestle, get paid for it, and have fun. That's really what it all comes down to.
And now that you say it, give Kenny Omega his flowers, man. Give this man his flowers, man. He's had a fantastic year. He did all of this hurt. I mean, to really think that he did that exploding barbed wire death
unreal
with Vertigo is nuts. Give this man his credit. Like I don't care if you didn't enjoy his run as champion, but man, the stuff that he's done this year has been incredible. Give him his credit, man.
Yeah, and
the
Omega, fact that like
one of the greatest of all time.
The fact that he held on as long as he did, because ultimately the goal was get Hangman over, and it was like, because he probably had the match taking place at All Out, probably would have been gone like immediately after All Out. And the fact that it was like Hangman's got to go have this baby, and therefore he's going to take some time off. And that means that Kenny's got to hold on 3 more months without getting looked at, without having his evaluations for his shoulders, for his hernia, for all of that stuff. Like, my God. Shout out to Kenny Omega, man. Yeah. Shout out to Kenny Omega. A couple more super chats, and then I got to hit the road. Tremaine says, number one topic is redacted. Let's not worry about it. Good luck. We'll see you next week. We gotta talk about it. We barely talked about it. So yeah. And L. Alexander says Woods claims that props don't make a king, then promptly charges the ring to save Plastic Party City crown, and promptly gets his tail whipped 3-1. I know that was silly. Yeah, it was Party City. Like,
not my crown.
Yeah, it was like Wish or Amazon. Like that was like one of those.
Come on, bro.
Hey, I need a crown like delivered tomorrow, so I'm gonna just do the cheap one on Amazon.
I hope
They
he
couldn't
comes
even get a
back with
Jerry
like
King Lawler crown, bro.
Yeah.
I hope he comes back with like a video game reference crown. Like he comes back with like a Minecraft crown.
Yeah, or something cool. but yeah, the thing that they crushed, it didn't even look so bad until they crushed it, and then all of a sudden, it's just like the way it shattered. It's like, come on, man.
Well, I mean, and didn't they destroyed Corbin's crown, and he got it designed to the one that he wore for most of his time as, you know, king. So I'm assuming that's what this is. He's going to come.
That's
back
what this
with
is
a cooler
leading
looking
to.
crown.
But hey, everybody, this was a very fun, very excellent edition of Grapsody. I hope it was everything you guys were waiting for. I think because
It was.
this was an excellent show. Thank you for being with us. One more, hey, what's up, Shanika? She says,
Hey.
all that with the spinning ring, Kenny forever.
Telling you how did he do
Kenny,
it? How?
man.
Yep.
Hey man, and
Wrestling
listen,
is so hard.
listen. If this was your last episode because you didn't appreciate some things that you know we said today, we had a good run. We love you. We appreciate you.
Hey, no, honestly, the number, you know, men lie, women lie, but
numbers don't.
numbers don't. And they spell disaster for you.
I'm not ranting next week. Next week, I'm going to have all nice things to say about everybody. It's going to be flowers and butterflies.
I'm going to make all 5
not
topics.
Talk about the fucking WWE.
No, I'm going to make all 5 topics WWE just to make Reg have to be nice.
Come on.
I'm going to be like Survivor Series match 1, Survivor Series match 2, Raw.
Let's specifically talk about gender and show and where they go from here.
Oh god.
Which by the way, we didn't say it, but
NXT 2.0, like it's gonna be.
Yeah, I mean, by the way, we didn't talk about it, but that gender and shanky thing was awful. That was awful,
whack,
bro.
Terrible.
Yeah. All right,
Trash.
y'all. I gotta be on the
Garbage.
road. So, ladies and gentlemen, this has been another edition of Grapsody. And what last one, Tyrone, the Staples Center. You mean the Crip?
Yep.
Yep.
Not looking good for those late guys, man. Not looking good for the late show.
But hey, join us next week. We're here noon Eastern,
Peace,
9 a.m.
y'all.
Pacific, right here at youtube.com/Fightful. For Philip Lindsey, for Righteous Reg, I'm Will Washington. We'll see you next time and have a great day. Peace.